Welcome back. My guest today is Mr. Tim Cox. We're talking about, well, some of the things in his book, Revolution, A New Plan for Selecting Representatives. But he is also the founder of GOOH, and that's G-O-O-O-H, which stands for Get Out of Our House. Tim, prior to the break, we were talking about the process for selecting these people who would replace the people that are presently in the member of the House of the U.S. Congress. Talk a bit about that, will you?
Okay. So our objective is to identify 435 men and women who we can put on the ballot to compete with the career politicians next November. The way we're going to do that is we're going to get 500,000 or more patriots across the country to go to our website and complete this questionnaire. Once we get to 500,000 people, then and only then we're going to ask those that are serious about doing this to make a $100 contribution. That's how we're going to raise the funds. But we're going to take those 500,000 people and we're going to randomly sort them into pools of 10 within their congressional district. And each pool of 10 is going to sit down on one Saturday morning next spring and choose the 2 best people among themselves. So just like the process you participated in, they'll sit there with 9 of their peers. They'll look at the answers to the question. They'll listen to their communication skills, what they've accomplished in life, and just look for, do they have it, right? Kind of that magical term. But each pool of 10 is going to choose 2 people. Those 2 people will advance, and the next weekend you'd have new but fewer pools of 10. So in this example, imagine that first weekend there's 50,000 pools of 10. Each of those choose 2 people. So the next weekend you have 100,000 people remaining. There'd be 10,000 pools of 10. They would choose 2, and you go through this process 4 or 5 weekends until ultimately the last pool of 10 chooses 1 person, and that becomes the GOOH party candidate for their district. Those folks, if you think about them, right, who's answered the questionnaire, signed this legally binding agreement, not accepted any money from special interest groups, not told how to vote by party, not career politicians, are the folks that we will run one national advertising campaign for. It says, America, you can continue to vote for career politicians, red or blue, like you've always done, and we'll get the exact same results we've always received. Or here's your opportunity, right, to vote for Joe or Mary or whoever who's documented their views, right, the same list I just went through. Here's your chance to affect change. Who do you want to vote for? Those 80 or 90% of us that disapprove of the job Congress is doing are going to overwhelmingly vote for the GOOH party candidate. We're not going to win with some 34 to 33 to 30% margin, right? We're going to win with an 80% landslide because everybody in America gets that the process is broken and that the folks up there are not doing the job that needs to be done.
Now, you mentioned they're going to look at their education, and I want to clarify that for people who are thinking they want to get involved and maybe don't have a degree. That you're not talking about that. You're talking about educated in terms of our Constitution, educated in terms of what it means to be a representative and to represent people. Is that not what you're talking about?
Exactly right. Each one of these pools of 10, they will sit down and by interviewing the other 9 people and having the conversation around the table, they will determine who are the 2 best candidates in this pool that can represent us. I think what you'll find is in every pool of 10, there's 5 or 6 people that are eminently qualified to go to Washington and serve. Right? We don't have to find the best person in the district. I'm not sure there's any such thing as the best out of 660,000. But what we have to find is 660,000 out of 660,000, one person, right? One man or one woman who's willing to document their views, stand by their principles, be selected by their peers, go to Washington and service.
And is there anything that you're going to do to help them understand that it's one thing to stand on their principles and to be very clear and articulate about it, but I guess in a way you're going to support them and give them a support basis, because when they get there they can be feel very alone when the media starts in on them and when their colleagues. In fact, in your book, I noticed you quoted John Kennedy, which I thought this was really interesting. You said, even John F. Kennedy acknowledged the situation, and you're talking about politicians and the pressure. He admitted a politician's 2 masters are who they are when he said, quote, finally, the senator who follows the independent course of conscience is likely to discover that he has earned the disdain not only of his colleagues in the Senate and his associates in the party, but also that of all important contributors to his campaign fund.
Right, and we really don't want our representatives to care what some party thinks, right? And we certainly don't want them to care what the people who are giving them money think. They go up there to represent the people, right? This is a government of the people, by the people, for the people. It has nothing to do with special interest groups and special interest money or political parties. And so here's a way, it's a very simple way that we can get 435 citizen representatives on the ballot. The people that bubble to the top of the system will be superb candidates. In any pool of 10, and you guys saw this today, if you have 6 people together, right, the people that bubble up are really, really good. And if you put 10 in a pool and you go through 4 or 5 rounds, the quality of those people will be fantastic. For people that sit there and say, but you know, I like my representative, they generally do pretty good, I say step back and look at the big picture. Do you like the deficit? Do you like the 30% of our kids that don't graduate? Do you like the 67,000 page tax code, right, or the borders leaking, or all of those issues again? And I use this metaphor, right, that Tori of Project Idaho gave us, right, 912 Project Idaho. It's like this car going down the road with 4 tires. You might have one good tire, but the other 3 are about to blow out, right? Do you really want to sit there and say, I'm going to support this one good tire and not worry about the other 3? You got to step back and look at the big picture and say, no, we need to get a brand new set of tires, all 4 of them. I'm not going to go buy 3 and then just have, right? I'm going to go get a new set of tires, and that's kind of what we're doing.
You know, it occurs to me that what you're doing is actually outlined in the Declaration of Independence, because as our founding fathers were listing all of the complaints they had against King George, they said that, you know, when government goes beyond its rightful bounds, when it starts becoming the oppressor and everything, that it's the right of the people to alter or abolish it. And, you know, as I've talked to people, they say, yeah, it's our right, you know, we can do that. But as you read further on the document,
yep,
it not only says that it's our right, but it's our duty to alter or abolish it. And what I like that I hear you saying is, let's try and make a positive change for the people, not for the politicians, but for the people. And so you're really actually hearkening back to what our founding fathers were hoping we would do, and that is, if things go wrong, get involved and get it changed.
Yeah, and you know, our founding fathers were brilliant people, right? If you, we have this on our website, Samuel Adams, 1776, right? He knew this day was come. His quote, if ever a time should come, right, when vain and aspiring men shall possess the highest seats in our government, our country will stand in need of its experienced patriots to prevent its ruin.
Yes.
Right? We are the experienced patriots. That time has come. We see the vain and aspiring men. Right? What are we going to do about it? Right? It is our duty to go and act, not to sit back and say, well, somebody else is going to take care of it. Here's a way, a very simple way for every person in America to get involved, right? To identify 435 men and women to put on the ballot to compete with the career politicians. Nobody's committed to voting for the people that we put on the ballot, but let's create some competition, right? Let's see that the quality of the person is that we put on there. Let's see what it's like when we have people that go up there and that speak from principle, right? And not from special interest groups.
What a concept.
Or, yeah, or what's politically correct. You know, you got to know that our founding fathers are sitting up in their grave and applauding if that's possible.
You bet. We'll be right back.